took Ben Shapiro only a couple of minutes to move from a quote from last night's Equality Forum, Beto O'Rourke talking about tax breaks for religious organizations that discriminate against certain Americans, to threatening to gun down either Beto O'Rourke or a truancy officer were they to come to his door in a circumstance he didn't like. If that seems crazy, it's his show. Let's watch.
In other words, if you're a church, you're not infringing on anybody's rights. You're just saying you can't come here for your marriage. Go to the church down the street. You're a religious school. You're saying, listen, you want to learn about gay rights? Go to the public school down the street. You're not infringing on anybody. Your mere existence is an infringement, according to Beto O'Rourke. The institutional existence is an infringement on liberty, according to Beto O'Rourke, and you must be shut down. You want a culture war in this country? You damn well have it, Beto O'Rourke. You want a culture war in this country? You want this country to come apart at the seams? This is how you do it. Because I promise you, if you come to tell me that you're going to indoctrinate my kids in particular policy and that I can't pull my kid out of the school and send my kid to a school I want to send them to, that I can't go to the church or synagogue that I want to go to, and if you make that national policy, not just California policy where I can move, but national policy, people are not going to stand for that. They're not going to stand for that. And if you send a truant officer to remove my child, I have two choices at that point, right? If I have no place to move because you've now made this national federal policy, I now have two choices. One is to leave the country utterly. Two is to pick up a gun. Those are the only choices that you have left me. And now people on like, oh, this is, how could you say stuff like that? How could you be so extreme? It's not extreme to defend the fundamental rights the Constitution was created in order to protect. Beto O'Rourke does not get to raise my child. And if he tries, I will meet him at the door with a gun. That is insane. That is insane. If he tries to remove my child from my home, and well, he's not suggesting that. Where do you think this goes?
Yeah, he wasn't suggesting that or any of that. He wasn't 10 miles away from this dystopic scenario that you crafted for yourself. But the issue is that the logic kid, the facts, and feelings guy, he has realized that right-wing thought only has like two modes right now. It's like, if they realize that the country's moving in a direction that they don't like, that popular opinion is swinging on an issue away from them, they threaten to start gunning down people. That's the go-to move.
He's approaching this conversation as if he's playing like a video game, like he's sitting with his headset, like, yeah, we're gonna blow it up, and like, it's like, this is not a video game, bro. Like this guy, first of all, I just need to state the obvious. He is the biggest joke to me. I don't even call him Ben Shapiro. His nickname is Fragile Frank. And he is just this scared, shaking chihuahua of a political hack that plays on the fear and the ignorance of some of these younger crowds that don't know much about politics. Yeah. They don't know much about what the Constitution is about, like what's outlined, which that's interesting too, the fact that we're protecting the Constitution. You don't even understand the Constitution at all. Like they just.
Yeah, so I gotta break this down. So I'm gonna get, that was littered with lies. I'm gonna explain what the reality is in a second. But before we do that, the more important point, which is this threats of violence is totally unacceptable. So he's saying that he would meet a presidential candidate at the door with a gun. He's saying that if you send authorities, including police, to his door to enforce a law, that he would instead murder them.
Because he's an incel.
Yeah, because look, guys, coming to meet you at the gun with a gun doesn't mean anything but I will kill you. It doesn't mean I'll come with a gun and flowers. There's not anything you can do with a gun except to kill someone. So he's saying I will not follow the law. So not surprising, he supports Donald Trump. And if you try to make me follow the law, if a cop tries to if a black guy says, hey, I know my rights, the cops kick the living crap out of him. Guys like Ben Shapiro say, hey, you should have listened to the cops. And here's Ben Shapiro saying, if a cop shows up and tells me what to do according to the law that the whole country passed, I'm gonna murder them.
Two options, leave the country, pick up a gun. And I think what we're seeing is that energy is what happened after the Civil War in the South and Jim Crow laws. And it was that idea that we've been defeated, our ignorance and cognitive dissonance has been penetrated. And so now the only option is to go out with a bang.
Yeah, and so
let's be really clear about what Beto actually said, because from just that clip, you must assume, oh, Beto said he's going to strip all of your kids and take them into the woods to do pagan rites around a bonfire. He just said, I'm not going to allow tax breaks for religious organizations that deny people their civil rights. That's literally all he said, but he has to fill a lot of hours of radio every day, I guess.
No, but so I'm gonna get to that in a second, but I wanna say one more thing about the violence. we even laughed on this panel because Ben Shapiro, really, what are you going to do to anybody? Okay, now look, they're very weak, so they hide behind weaponry. So it's not like Ben Shapiro could say, like in the old days, like, oh, you want to take it outside? So he goes, no, I'll just murder you with a gun because I'm a weakling, right? So that's his illusion there. And we laugh because it's absurd coming from him, but it's not funny because he has a lot of maniacs who listen to his show. And those maniacs do have guns and they are incredibly weak and deeply insecure.
And why aren't they on a terrorist list? Why aren't they on a watch list? Because Tomi Lahren did the same thing when she then tried to walk it back and say, oh, that's not what I meant. It's like, it's exactly what you meant, Swastika Barbie. Like you thought that just because someone didn't agree with you on a specific thing, that you were going to then try to rile people up and get them excited and incite violence. And
I guarantee you this, if the Black Panthers said, if the cops show up at our door, we're gonna meet them with a gun, they'd all be arrested. And they'd definitely be on a watch list. But you have right-wing privilege in this country. You can threaten to murder cops all day long if you're a right-winger, and your crazy audience could actually do it.
But let them kill a black person though.
Oh.
Blue lives matter, yes, like why are you, but then all of a sudden, when the law's on our side.
And you don't allow me to be a bigot, then I'm gonna shoot all the cops. That's what Ben Shapiro says. All right, so now let's get to finally to all the lies as quickly as I can. He says, oh, you come in and make my kids do certain things at a school. Beto wasn't talking about schools at all. If you're talking about Catholic schools, etc., they're perfectly allowed to exist. If you're talking about churches, he makes it seem like, no, Beto says and Democrats say you must teach this. Like this is a specific thing you must teach at your church or at your school. He's not saying any of that. All he's saying is if you want your tax-exempt status, you cannot discriminate against certain people, which is the law for in every other regard. So it's when he says, well, why don't you just go to a different school? Why don't you go to a different church? Well, that's what they told black folks. Well, we're racist and we're not allowing you in our hotel or a restaurant, etc. Why don't you just go to a different restaurant, go to a different hotel, go to a different pool, go use a different water fountain? What's the big deal? Separate but equal. No, and by the way, at this point, we're not saying that churches can't do that. They get separate but equal. So I hate it, I can't stand it, I think it's wrong, I think it's morally wrong. But if you're a person who's morally despicable and you hate gay people and you say, I don't want to appeal to them at all, and it's not just about the issue that Beto brought up, it's also you can't get a job. The church, you go to the church and you say, hey, oh, you're gay, I hate you, you're not allowed to have a job, okay? So, okay, we're still gonna let you do that. And Ben, don't worry, sleep easy. You can hate anyone you like. It's a free country. All he's saying is, then you're not going to be tax exempt. But that is actually why Ben Shapiro is the most upset. Taxes, oh, taxes, I want my money. That's what the whole right wing is based on. Money, money, money. I want to cheat on my taxes. As a hateful, bigoted church, I want, or a mosque, or whatever religious institution that wants to discriminate against other people, they say, no, I want to be able to discriminate and pay zero taxes. Why? I don't pay zero taxes, you don't pay zero taxes. Why does the church get to say, I'm gonna be the most hateful? And by the way, of course, it is not remotely all churches. But if you're some church that is in that direction, some mosque that is in that direction, we're still fine with it. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's a wonderful free country. You're allowed to be hateful. You're allowed to be a bigot. You're allowed to be all those things. But you're not allowed to demand that you get special privileges where you don't have to pay any taxes.
Also, why do you care what the church does or doesn't do if you're just gonna disobey the law anyway and grab your gun? So it's like.
Yeah, and so what Ben Shapiro is in reality saying is, if you don't let me make sure that they can't get jobs, I can kick them out of school, I could fire them for being a teacher, I could do all these things, and I demand to pay zero taxes. If you say to me, no, you have to actually pay 10% in taxes or whatever the number is, I'll murder you. Jesus Christ, that is what the right wing in this country is maniacally in favor of the rich and the powerful, to the point where they would threaten to kill cops in order to defend their right not to pay any goddamn taxes. And last thing, you think we want to control your lives? I don't want any part of your miserable life, okay? The idea of controlling Ben Shapiro's life, I don't want to be within 10 miles of Ben Shapiro's life. I don't give a damn what you do in your silly little life. What we're asking for is equality, okay? It's not too much to ask for in a country based on equality. Same rights, not more rights, not less rights, same rights. But you're a bigot, you're a homophobe. So you go, oh God, I can't believe I have to give gay people the same rights as me. Well then, God damn it, do option one, move to a country that is not based on equality. You are un-American, you hate the core idea of America, which is that we're all born equal. Read the Declaration of Independence, you ignorant ass. And if you don't like it, then get out. Get out, move somewhere else. And you know who wants to actually control your life? Ben Shapiro, who wrote a book about don't watch porn. What? Hey, you over there, don't watch it. You over there, not that kind of porn, not that porn, not that porn. Can you believe the liberals want to control your life? Are you mental? What are you doing going on people's computer? Like, what are you watching? What are you watching? Don't do it, don't do it. I'm gonna control every part of your life. No, you're the big government advocate. Don't talk to your doctor about an abortion. I'm gonna get inside your uterus. I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm gonna moralize. Don't watch porn. Don't sleep with that person. Don't love that person. Who wants to control your life? That jerk right there, that little weasel, is the one who wants to control your life. And we're not gonna let him, but unlike those monsters, we're not gonna go, I don't agree with Shapiro, so I'm gonna grab a gun. No, we're gonna do it politically. And yes, we are in the middle of a culture war. Our culture of equality is better than yours, of discrimination. And we're in the middle of winning, and that's why you're so pathetically bitter. And you know you've lost the debate. You've lost the American people. They agree with us. 2/3 agree with us on every one of those issues. That is why you are desperate and go, you know what? I'm gonna do the only thing that right wing's got left, violence. That means you have been thoroughly defeated. You are intellectually bankrupt. And those are the facts, and the facts don't give a damn about your feelings. Young Turks. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.